Good afternoon and welcome back to Total Football Analysis's live coverage of the Bundesliga. I'm your host, Harry Symeou, and commentator, and I'm joined on the line this time by a different analyst, but one equally as talented. Welcome to the show, Cameron Meehan. How you doing, mate?
Hi, mate. Thanks for having me.
No problem. The pleasure is all ours. Of course, it's Paderborn versus Borussia Dortmund. That's the game that we are covering today. My friend, tell us a little bit about what you've made of Borussia Dortmund's season so far. Very disappointing defeat for them just a few days ago.
Yeah, so start of the season it was fairly disappointing as well. They went with kind of a 4-2-3-1 kind of structure, and it wasn't being particularly effective for them. And the season started to really improve when they switched to this back three that they've been using recently. And then from there, they've been winning games. We've seen after the coronavirus break, they hit the ground running straight away, and then Bayern Munich, who are probably one of the top three teams in Europe at the moment, just got the better of them on that day. But I don't think it was a particularly poor performance by them in that game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they'll be determined, as we're saying, to bounce back after what turned out to be a disappointing result. I think I agree with you in terms of the performance, though. It was a game that they really, really had to win if they were going to challenge Bayern for the Bundesliga crown. On the other hand, today we've got Paderborn, Stefan Baumgart's side, and they haven't won any of their last 9 league fixtures. And incidentally, they've never beaten Borussia Dortmund. They're without Klaus Jasula, who's suspended, and Dortmund have got some absentees of their own. Haaland is out. Apologies, after his substitution during their Klassiker. Mahmoud Dahoud, Marco Reus, and Dan Axel Zagadou. They're longer-term absentees. Let's run through the two lineups. Let's go through the Paderborn one first, as they're the home side. In goal, it's Leopold Zingerla. There's a back three of Christian Strodijk, Uwe Hunemeyer and Sebastian Schonlau, Mohamed Drager, Sebastian Vassiliadis and Jamilu Collins, Christopher Antwi Ajay, Gerrit Hotman, Streli Mamba and Dennis Serbani. Is there anybody that sticks out to you in that lineup that we should be looking out for, Cameron?
Yeah, definitely. Sebastian Vassiliadis is a player that many people are backing for a move in the summer to a bigger team, really. Paderborn have definitely got the lowest budget in the Bundesliga, and it shows in the squad and the performances a little bit. The absence of Jasula as well is quite a big miss as well, considering Julian Brandt's role today, which I'm sure we'll get on to with the Dortmund side. Jasula's usually a very ill-disciplined defensive midfielder, hence the suspension today. I think he's on 16 yellow cards for the season now. So that's definitely going to be an absence for them. But Vassiliadis as a player is kind of an all-round midfielder that suits Paderborn's style of play quite well. Just is very energetic midfielder who likes to tackle and can also then go and create as well.
Just 22 years old as well, Sebastian Vassiliadis, the Greek international. Let's have a look at Borussia Dortmund's starting 11. Roman Bürki in goal. The back three are Lukas Piszczek, Matt Hummels and Manuel Akanji, just as they were the other day. 2 wing-backs, Ashraf Hakimi and Rafael Guerrero. Thomas Delaney starts in the middle of the park, but of course Dahoud is out, which means Emre Can comes in. The front three is slightly different as well. Julian Brandt, who was substituted in that game, he's back in the side. Thorgan Hazard it looks like he'll be leading the line based on the pictures we've seen, but as we know, it's a very fluid front three. And of course, Jadon Sancho finally gets a start. First of all, how much of a blow is it to have Dahoud out? Because I thought, particularly in the latter stages of the Klassiker the other day, he was the player in a Dortmund shirt that started to really pick up the tempo for them and take the game to Bayern Munich a little bit.
Yeah, He's certainly been a better player recently for Borussia Dortmund than he was at the start of his Dortmund career. But I don't think it's such a massive miss when you have a player like Emre Can who can come in and replace him. For this game in particular, Can's useful in terms of his pressing ability, and that's going to be key within Dortmund's ability to kind of control the game, with Paderborn probably looking to play on the counter-attack for the majority of the game. So I'm not sure it's such a massive miss, because Can's on-ball ability is excellent as well, and he can progress play too, so don't think it's that big a miss.
Okay. Let's look at sort of the front three. Jadon Sancho back in the side, hasn't started a game since the Bundesliga return. This is his first one. Has that been down purely to fitness, in your opinion?
Yeah, it looked like it. Interestingly, the other day, Erling Haaland liked a tweet that was questioning Jadon Sancho's match fitness. So I just found that interesting. But yeah, I don't think he's been. I don't know if he's been ready to start. And when he came on against Bayern, I don't think he looked particularly ready.
Yeah, absolutely. Julian Brandt is back in the side. We feared that maybe something had gone wrong there in terms of his fitness, but he's back, and that's a huge boost for Lucien Favre's men, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. His role and his style of play is going to be key today in breaking down Paderborn. I expect that front three, as you mentioned, to be quite fluid. So it's tricky to tell initially who is going to be that starting striker, and they are probably going to be more of a false nine. So we may see Brandt in there at times, and we may see Hazard then dropping in. But it's vital today for Dortmund that when they do allow that fluid front three to drop in, somebody's got to maintain that height, otherwise they won't be able to progress the ball into high areas.
Absolutely. Guys, don't forget, if you're watching us via the Total Football Analysis YouTube channel, please head over to the Hot Mic app, download it, sign up using the promo code TFA2020, and you'll be able to sync our commentary with your television pictures. Don't forget to check out TotalFootballAnalysis.com, sign up to the magazine where you can read some excellent analytical content. I'm joined by Cameron Meehan today, and we're looking ahead to Paderborn versus Borussia Dortmund. Kickoff is around about 5 minutes away. When the two sides met earlier on in the season, back in November, it was a very, very highly entertaining 3-3 draw. Of course, Paderborn raced into the lead, but they were pegged back by a spirited Borussia Dortmund second half performance. You know, we spoke in the build-up about the fact that Paderborn have never beaten Dortmund. In your opinion, Cameron, is there any chance of there being an upset on the cards today? Are we looking at a Dortmund side who may be sort of moping around a bit, or do you expect them to come out like a wounded animal?
It's a difficult one to call, really. Paderborn certainly have the ability to hit teams on the counter-attack, as we saw in that game where Paderborn, I think 2 of their 3 goals in that game were on the counter-attack. Paderborn aren't your usual bottom of the league side. They can be quite aggressive, and they do try and play football with that short kind of build up rather than going route one, like we see Union Berlin do, for example. But Dortmund are a changed side since that November defeat. That I think they used a back 4 in that game, and that kind of contributed to changing to that back 3. And then from there, the form's been different. But for Dortmund today, it's just all about controlling the game and stopping those counter-attacks, which they'll do through the counter-pressing.
Absolutely. The two teams are almost ready to get us underway. They're coming through the tunnel now. Borussia Dortmund in all yellow today. There's yellow shirts, yellow shorts, and yellow socks. They're visiting Paderborn at the Benteler Arena today. 15,000 capacity here normally. But of course, the stadium is empty today. Paderborn founded actually in 1985. They're not a very old club at all, are they, Cameron?
No, and they've recently just got. They've only recently been promoted from the 3rd division of German football, so it has been a rapid rise for them.
Absolutely, has indeed. As the two teams come out onto the field, we're approaching kickoff, nearly there. Don't forget, if you're watching us via the Hot Mic app, hit that like button, hit the share button, spread the word. Daniel Siebert is the man in the middle today, as we prepare for kickoff between these two sides. Can Borussia Dortmund put that disappointing Der Klassiker defeat just a few days ago behind them? Or can Paderborn spring some sort of surprise here? We shall find out. Let's just run you through the two starting 11s one more time before we kick off. For Paderborn, it's Leopold Zingerla in goal, Christian Strodiek, Uwe Hunemeyer, Sebastian Schonlau, Mohamed Drager, Sebastian Vassiliadis, Jamilu Collins, Gerrit Holtmann, Christopher Antwi Ajay, Strelin Bamba, and Dennis Serbani. For Borussia Dortmund, it's Roman Berkey, Lucas Piszczek, Matt Hummels, Manuel Akanji, Ashraf Hakimi, Emre Can, Thomas Delaney, Rafael Guerrero, Jadon Sancho, Thorgan Hazard, and Julian Brandt. Don't forget, guys, you can get your questions into us via the live chat box on the Hot Mic app, and we'll come to as many of those as we possibly can throughout the broadcast. What have you made of the start to this I guess, well, the restart of this Bundesliga season, Cameron? Have you gotten over the strangeness that we see in the stands with nobody there, and have you kind of got past that? Because I know a lot of people are struggling with it.
I've found it really interesting. I don't usually watch football with commentary on when I'm doing analysis, so it hasn't affected me that much. But yeah, it's certainly been interesting.
Absolutely. You can check out some of Cameron's excellent analysis over at totalfootballanalysis.com. Cameron, how can people keep up with you on Twitter as well?
Follow me on Twitter, it's at Cam_Megan, and then yeah, from there, hopefully enjoy some of my stuff.
Brilliant. Be sure to do that. Two teams are in position. Small stadium here in Paderborn, certainly not the monster like the Signal Iduna Park where Borussia Dortmund normally play their football. Like Cameron said, this is a club who have come up the ranks very, very quickly. It's Paderborn who are going to kick us off. They're going to be shooting from right to left as you watch on your screens there in their traditional blue and black. Borussia Dortmund in all yellow. Paderborn with some early possession. They've won themselves a throw-in down on this near side. Symeou there, the man involved. 26-year-old German, formerly of Norwich City, for those of you who follow the Premier League. Made 43 appearances for the Canaries during his time there.
Straight away there, we see Paderborn trying to get in behind, which is a tactic that they used a lot in that November game.
Brilliant stuff. Ball's with Roman Berkey at the moment at the back. Here's a Kanji. Take a touch. Is it to Guerrero, who's pulled out right onto the touchline on that far side. Here's Matt Hummels. Under a little bit of pressure possibly there from Mamba. Emre Can getting his first touch. It's a misplaced pass from Piszczek, and Paderborn have a throw-in on this near side. Symeou Collins is the man who's going to take it. The Nigerian looking for options. Again, they try and go in behind. Vasiliadis there, stepping forward and out onto this left-hand side in a bid to get involved. Paderborn have won themselves. Have they? Or is it a Dortmund? No, it's a Dortmund. Throwing my apologies. Taken short. Then smashed up the field there by Hakimi. Comes straight back, but Matt Hummels will just usher it back to Roman Berkey in the Dortmund goal. Here's a Kanji now. Any surprises in the way the two teams have set up? I know it's very early, Cameron, but in terms of the way Paderborn have set up, it showed on the graphic that Dennis Symeou would be right up there with Streli Mamba, but it looks like he's playing just off him at the moment.
It looks like a 4-1-4-1 for Paderborn at the moment. Pressing in more of a mid-block, but are still aggressive and getting near the ball. We saw they forced that mistake early. Ball on the left side now.
Here's Hazard. Holding off the challenger, the Paderborn defender plays it inside to Julian Brandt, who's taken up a central position. Too cute for Dortmund, and they're dispossessed. Here come Paderborn on the attack now. Altman. Done well to hold on to possession there, and he's done really well to win his team a throw-in. Plenty of energy in this Paderborn side, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely.
Stefan Baumgart there just barking out some instructions to his players. Paderborn dispossessed. Dortmund looking to create something maybe on the counter-attack as Sancho switches the play. Here comes Guerrero down this left-hand side. Switches it back to the right-hand side. Emre Can drifts past his man. Puts a low cross into the penalty area, and it's cleared there out of the 6-yard box. Mohamed Drager.
Paderborn there just struggling in transition to kind of stop that attack. Obviously, Emre Can there getting past the fullback, which will be disappointing for Paderborn. Interested to see how they deal with the set piece now.
Did that extremely easily, didn't he?
Yeah.
Corner's going to come in from Dortmund's right-hand side. First opportunity to test Zingerla in the Paderborn goal. It's cut out at the near post. It's gone out for another Dortmund corner. This time it was Hunemeyer who dealt with the set piece. Dortmund have sent plenty of men forward, including Piszczek and Hummels. Here comes the corner, delivered left-footed. It's into that near post again. This time Paderborn deal with it, but the ball breaks only as far as Hakimi. Hazard there, doing some defensive work. Here's Julian Brandt. Good work there from Emre Can, using his big frame. Dortmund dispossessed though, and it's an opportunity for Paderborn maybe to get in behind again. Here it is, Mamba making that run. Akanji does well. Piszczek comes across to help his defensive teammate out. Mamba's got plenty of pace, hasn't he, Cameron?
Yeah, seems to really only be the option for Paderborn at the moment. They're not attacking with much height, so they are purely relying on Mamba to get in behind there. Good work by Akanji there to stop it too.
Absolutely. When his team a goal kick, and you can see those Dortmund centre-backs almost trying to lure the Paderborn players in order to play around them. But Paderborn are not having it at the moment. They're holding their ground.
Yeah, we can see Julian Brandt nice and deep here, trying to get away from his defensive midfielder, and he's received the ball now.
It's Emre Can. Out to this right-hand side, Hakimi with a poor touch. Hakimi, who came in for a bit of criticism during the Bayern Munich game for the fact he was so wasteful in possession. Player with a lot of ability, though. Paderborn dispossessed once more. Jadon Sancho. Opportunity to take on his man. Skips inside him, lays it off back to Guerrero. Sancho gets it back. Turns. Crossfield pass out to this right-hand side. Hakimi's got forward, as he does so often. Looks to play the ball inside towards Hazard, but the pass is a poor one. Paderborn have it back. Here's Antwi Adje. Moving right across the field there for Paderborn. Laying it off to Symeou Collins. Signed as a free agent back in 2017. As you alluded to prior to kickoff, Paderborn don't have the budget. They have to be smart in the transfer market. Schrodak's ball in behind. Here's Drager. Looks to deliver into the penalty area. It's cut out. Paderborn have a throw-in.
We can see that Paderborn style of play as well. That short build-up there to try and progress through Dortmund, trying to use the half space as well, and to get a throw-in from progressing into the wide area.
Here's Symeou
Again, we
Collins.
see here the nice and patient.
Absolutely. They're a side who have received a lot of praise, haven't they, from the sort of neutral fans about the way that they've gone about competing in this division. We know that they're struggling, but in terms of their approach to games, it's very entertaining, and I guess it's what the neutrals love to see.
Yeah, it's really brave. They could quite easily just consistently sit in a low block and try and defend, but as we can see, they do try and play football sometimes and do get at bigger teams.
I guess I make the comparison probably to Union Berlin, who myself and Lee covered on a couple of occasions in the last few weeks and found I'm going to say it, we found them extremely boring to watch. Paderborn are not like that though, are they?
No, certainly not. Having said that, they aren't pressing Dortmund too high at the moment. They are just in more of a mid block when Dortmund have possession.
Symeou Collins working back there to dispossess Hazard. He's conceded a throw-in. 8.5 minutes played. Don't forget, if you're watching us via the Hot Mic app, you can synchronize our broadcast with your BT Sport pictures. We believe it also works for Fox Sport 1. If you're watching via any other broadcaster, You can do it using the manual buttons. And to help you guys out, we're currently on the 8th minute, 49th second. Misplaced pass there from Strodiek. Here's a Kanji in possession for Borussia Dortmund, under no pressure whatsoever. As Cameron's just said, Paderborn adopting almost a mid-block whilst the visitors are in possession, particularly in these areas. Here's Piszczek. All inside. Delaney gets it back from Akanji. Finds him again. Under a little bit of pressure there, Akanji.
Dortmund is trying to play side to side to open up those half spaces for either Julian Brandt or Jadon Sancho, or Torgan Hazard as well, actually. So they will just keep doing this until they find an opportunity to play it in, and as they've just have there.
Vasiliadis just dispossessed there. Well, he was waiting for a ball that never arrived. Here's Hakimi on this right-hand side. Opportunity for Dortmund. Here's Jadon Sancho. The first touch was a poor one. Showed a little bit too much of the ball to the defender. But the hosts will break out here. Here's Mamba. Paderborn have a man over here. If they can find him, it's Christopher Antwi Adjei. Opportunity to shoot. And he drags it just wide. That's a real chance for Paderborn.
Yeah, Dortmund's counter-pressing's been actually quite good so far, but then they just committed one player too far forward, and you saw the winger down the line was able to break, and then they created that free man.
Just the one goal for Christopher Antwi Adjei this season. Perhaps his first touch wasn't quite as he would have liked. Forced to drag the ball wide of Roman Berke's post. Paderborn will certainly be the happier though, won't they, of the opening 10 minutes or so?
Yeah, definitely. Dortmund is struggling at the moment, but Dortmund won't be concerned just yet. They have access to half space a couple of times, which is the main aim of the build-up. So it's be a matter of time.
Absolutely, they certainly have the superior quality. Here's Matt Hummels. Looks to play a ball in behind there for Jadon Sancho, who'd made a run, but it was cut out brilliantly. Ball breaks to Hakimi now on this right-hand side. One-on-one with the Paderborn fullback. Plays a lovely 1-2, puts it back into the box. Jadon Sancho unable to get on the end of it, but Dortmund have possession back and they'll come again.
Doing a really good job of keeping Paderborn in their own half almost, and just counter-pressing whenever Paderborn try and launch those counter-attacks.
Absolutely. Ball's back with Zingerla. Mohamed Drager playing as almost like a wing back today for Paderborn. Here is Julian Brandt. Emre Can into Hazard. Poor touch. Pass wasn't great though in truth. Here's Hakimi. Paderborn battling really well. Vasiliadis in middle of the park there. Player that you pointed out prior to kick-off. Are his days at Paderborn numbered in your opinion?
Almost definitely if they go down. It's looking unlikely that they're going to stay up, so I'd say so, yeah.
Here he is now. Plays a ball into Antwi Adjei on this right-hand side. One-on-one with Akanji. Drager making a run forward. Antwi Adjei goes for goal himself. Never testing Roman Berke with that effort though, but it's positive again from Paderborn. It's another attempt at goal.
Yeah, they're doing quite a good job of finding that free man on the far side. Just by switching the ball, not patiently, but with short passes rather than that long switch that you see from most teams.
Don't forget to give us a follow on the Hot Mic app. That way you'll get a notification every time we're live and you will never miss a broadcast. Coming next week as well. During the week, we'll be bringing you a full schedule of the games that we'll be covering over the next 30 days or so with some brilliant new analysts and some more commentators as well for those of you who are sick and tired of my voice. Here's Antwi Adjei. Does brilliantly. Hummels just gets a foot in there. Apologies, Delaney gets a foot in. Collins looked to put the ball in the box, but he's won his team a throw in here on this near side after Hakimi got the block in. I have to apologise once again to those of you watching or listening if I do break out in a sneeze. This hay fever's really got me. Sure, a lot of you can sympathise. Flag's gone up there, offside. Free kick to Borussia Dortmund. On this near side, their right hand side, almost in line with the edge of their 6-yard box. Emre Can, he's made just 7 Bundesliga appearances for Dortmund prior to this one. Not played anywhere near as much as he'd have liked. Dortmund with 60% of the possession so far. Pretty much what most of us expected. But Paderborn are the side who have had 2 attempts at goal. Proof that you don't need to have all of the ball all of the time to be effective. Here's Symeou Collins. He'll take this throw in for Paderborn. The hosts thought they had another throw in there, but the officials decided otherwise. Hakimi takes it quickly, finds Matt Hummels on the edge of his own penalty area. Here's Piszczek. To Emre Can, under pressure from Vassiliadis, who'd followed him.
Paderborn so far doing a really good job of matching up against those Dortmund central midfielders. So it's a 3-man midfield, effectively, from Paderborn with that 4-1-4-1. And that defensive midfielder in behind is just trying to keep tabs on whichever player drops a little bit deeper. So usually it's Julian Brandt, who's occupied now by him.
Dortmund just knocking the ball around at the back at the moment. Paderborn holding their shape, holding their ground, and making it very, very difficult for Lucien Favre's side at the moment. Don't forget to check out totalfootballanalysis.com. Some in-depth content. Here's Torgan Hazard from the angle. Good shot, good save. Always going to be difficult, though, to beat Zingerla from that angle, wasn't it?
Yeah, typical thing that happens when you're playing in the mid-block. If you want to try and stay compact vertically, you've got to have a fairly high line, and Hazard there just tries to take advantage of it.
Here's Jadon Sancho inside the penalty area for Dortmund. Here's Delaney. But for all the build-up play that Dortmund have attempted so far, that was route 1, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Here is Piszczek. Looks to play a 1-2 with Hazard there. Ball breaks for Paderborn, who will look to drive forward on the counter-attack. Good work there from Symeou. Here's Drager. Got 2 Dortmund players for company, and in the end he runs the ball out of play.
Paderborn looked as though they'd committed a few players forward there at the start of that counter-attack, but they were just a bit slow in progressing it, and eventually just dwindled out, and they settled for trying to win a set piece, it looked like, but obviously a poor touch.
Here is Achraf Hakimi. Ball inside to Brandt. It was a poor ball, and as a result he was unable to get it under control. Just slightly overhit that pass. Forced the former Bayer Leverkusen man to stretch. Here's Schönlau. Now Drager on this right hand side. Christian Strodijk. All in behind as Paderborn look to come forward again. This time it's Holtman.
Again, lovely build-up by Paderborn. Not something you'd expect to see from a bottom of the league side, building up that patiently against Dortmund. Dortmund struggling to press them at the moment.
Absolutely. Certainly a talented football team. There is an argument that had they been a little bit different in their approach, maybe they'd have a better chance of staying in the Bundesliga, but they deserve immense credit for being willing to play the game. And you know, as somebody who watches a lot of Premier League football, I find it extremely frustrating when teams go to grounds with no intention of winning football matches. I understand that they're trying to level the playing field somewhat, but for me, what's the point in playing if you're not trying to win games? Dortmund have a throw-in on that far side, almost in line with the edge of Paderborn's penalty area. Here's a Kanji. Almost 20 minutes played here. Still goalless. Sancho will keep that in. Got Drager for company. Lays it off back to Delaney. Back to Sancho. Here's Brandt, pulled out to this left-hand side. Delivers into the penalty area, left-footed. No one can get on the end of it, and Paderborn managed to get it clear. Only as far as Matt Hummels on the halfway line. Another wave of yellow attack. Here's Jadon Sancho. Guerrero got forward there, but it's back with Sancho. His cross is deflected. Here's Julian Brandt inside the penalty area. Just had the ball nicked from him there. Here's a Kanji stepping forward now. Jadon Sancho. Dispossessed. Antwi Ajay. Vasiliadis is passed out to the right hand side. Back to Antwi Ajay. Here's Hunemeyer. Ball played forward. Look at that pace. Look at that pace from Streli Bama there. Here come the hosts once more, looking to inflict some damage. Panic over momentarily for Borussia Dortmund though. Every time Paderborn win back the ball, it's like they play with such an incredible intensity. Here's Jadon Sancho in behind. Poor touch though. Hunemeyer gets back. Deals with the danger. Paderborn just seem to explode into life, don't they, when they get into that sort of mid to final third, whereas Borussia Dortmund are a little bit slower in what they're doing at the moment.
Yeah, I think Dortmund are still doing a really good job of. I think a minute ago they kept the ball in Paderborn's half twice, and almost kind of pressure cooking Paderborn into making a mistake.
Here's Holtman, opportunity to get the ball in the box. He's won a throw-in off of Achraf Hakimi. "22 minutes played here in the Benteler Arena, home of Paderborn. They've scored just twice in their last 5 Bundesliga fixtures. Can they get a goal today? Is there a shock on the cards? Collins prepares to take this throw in. Referee finally gives him the go-ahead. Not much in the way of movement, so it'll be a direct approach into the box. Almost got a head on it. It's back with Collins on this left-hand side. He's won another throw-in.
Not sure what the plan was with that long throw-in. It was more of a throw it into the big man and head it towards goal.
Absolutely. A little bit more movement this time. Back with Collins. Dortmund managed to get the ball clear. Not very far though. The number of throw-ins that Paderborn have had on this left-hand side has been incredible. Here's Collins looking to dance his way past a couple of Borussia Dortmund defenders. He manages to get a cross in the end, but it's a poor one. And Roman Berkey will come and claim that at his near post. Here's Emre Can to Jadon Sancho. That's a poor pass. Good work from Jamilu Collins. Dortmund have a throw in. Hakimi takes it quickly. Jadon Sancho coming that little bit deeper now to try and get involved in the game. Just 20 years old, Jadon Sancho, being heavily linked with a move back to the Premier League. Manchester United said to be very, very interested. But it is all just paper talk at this moment in time. Here's Julian Brandt. Ball out to this right-hand side. Hakimi's come forward. Gets it under control. Just about manages to keep it in. But Symeou Collins will benefit from his hard work there. Dortmund have it back again. Almost squares it to... Go ahead, mate.
Dortmund haven't got going with the movement so far, I don't think. I keep mentioning that half space. They are constantly trying to get into it, but it's currently just one player occupying it. So it's hard. It's the fullbacks consistently just kind of marking that area and cutting out that space. So Dortmund do need to kind of get into the swing of things like they were against Schalke, where they were brilliant at it.
I mean, for all the, I highly respect the analysis that you guys provide. It just feels to me like it's a little bit basic here, and it's just a case of just moving the ball that little bit quicker will open up those spaces. Here's Drager on this right-hand side making the run, but Antwi Ajay put the pass in central, and it was a poor one in the end. Dortmund looking to break here. They've got a man over in Hazard on this right-hand side, but he uses the left instead. Sancho plays in Julian Brandt. He's through on goal here. Cuts back Julian Brandt, and Dortmund fire just wide. Guerrero got forward there. That's a real chance. Why didn't Julian Brandt go for goal?
There's that bravery from Paderborn that we talked about, committing that many players in high areas. You can call it bravery, you can call it almost stupidity in this sense. Zero kind of counter press, so Dortmund can just overload and then maybe should score. So it's probably a low expected goals chance, but it's certainly a big chance for Dortmund. Now a corner. Absolutely.
Sancho delivers it into the penalty area. It's headed away by, I think it was Holtman there for Paderborn. Brandt with a real opportunity to fire at goal, but he decided to lay it off for Guerrero. It was a good opportunity, but Paderborn survived that scare. Here's Jadon Sancho on the right hand side, cuts it back. Emre Can lets it run. Brandt looking to create some space, but again Paderborn defend it well. Vassiliadis that time. Paderborn have themselves a free kick.
Nice counter press again by Dortmund there to stop any kind of counter attack. Hazard sprinting in from a wide area to get narrow, and then there's obviously the foul as well, which is an effective way to stop a counter attack.
Absolutely. Sebastian Schonlau, the man, fouled there, and he looks as though he's playing just in front of the defence as opposed to what our pictures showed us previously, which was him as being part of the defence.
Yeah, I think his main role is, as I've said, to step out and deal with one of those drop-in players, which might be Julian Brandt usually.
Certainly. Here's Hunemeyer. Now Strodiek. "27 minutes played here. It's Paderborn 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. Paderborn will certainly be the happier of the two sides based on the way things have gone so far. Here's Emre Can. Hakimi now. Lays it off to Jadon Sancho. Skips past the first defender. Couldn't quite beat Collins there to that second ball though. Paderborn work the ball nicely. Ball's with Drager now on this right hand side. Here's Vassiliadis. Greek international. That's one name that isn't going to throw me today, fortunately. Here is Symeou Collins. Kanji steps out of the defence, does really well there before playing a really loose pass. Drager has it back for Paderborn. Dortmund have plenty of players behind the ball though. It's a shot from distance. Gerrit Holtman with the effort there, but he's never going to trouble Roman Berkey from there.
Few too many of those loose passes so far for Dortmund, hasn't there?
Absolutely. Here is Matt Hummels. He plays it out to this right-hand side. Achraf Hakimi will drive down this right flank. Ball inside towards Jadon Sancho, but it's cut out. That ball goes all the way through, but Dortmund have it back. Just a reminder, the Bundesliga action is not over for this weekend yet. I think it's Cologne-Leipzig takes place tomorrow. Don't forget, guys, you can get your questions in via the live chat box. We'll come to a couple of those during the half-time break. Here's Jadon Sancho, lays it off to Thomas Delaney. Back out to Guerrero on this left-hand side for Dortmund. In to Sancho again. Paderborn with plenty of bodies behind the ball. Here's Achraf Hakimi. Lucas Piszczek, the captain. Thomas Delaney. Pass around the corner to Emre Can. Out-muscled there. It's not often you can say that about Emre Can. Lovely ball inside there, but it's just a little bit overhit. Paderborn will shepherd the ball back to the... Oh, it's a loose header. That's terrible defending there. We're just going to talk about how well and how easy that was for Strodiek to nod it back to his goalkeeper. He's completely misjudged that, and Torgan Hazard's got a foot in. Very, very fortunate to get away with that, Paderborn.
I was just going to mention about how impressed I've been with Paderborn's defending so far, and then they go and do something like that.
It's the curse of the commentator. I keep telling Lee about it as well. Here's Julian Brandt. Akanji, left-footed, looks to put it in the box, but he's won his team a corner. That's good defending. That's much better this time from Uwe Hunemeyer. Here's Julian Brandt receiving the ball inside the penalty area. Looks to deliver with his left foot. It's cut out and then cleared. Around about a quarter of an hour plus stoppage time remaining in this first period. It's Paderborn 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. Ball out to this left-hand side where Jadon Sancho will receive it, the England international. Here's Guerrero in towards Hazard. Ball breaks out to Sancho on this left-hand side. He delivers low into the penalty area. It's cut out by Hunemeyer brilliantly. It's been the standout player for Paderborn for me so far.
Yeah, Dortmund's still trying to access that half space, and they're getting a bit of luck doing it now. A couple of times have broke through that area now. So, again, the time's a big thing in these kind of games.
We were talking about how well they defended, but just that moment at the back from Strodiek, you can't afford to do that when you've got the likes of Hazard, Brandt and Sancho lurking, waiting to take advantage. Got to concentrate for the full 90 minutes. Sounds obvious, but we so often see teams put in solid defensive displays and then one moment of lapse in concentration can cost them, and then the floodgates open. Paderborn have done very well to maintain the goalless draw at this moment in time. 32 minutes played. They've done really, really well, but they can't afford to switch off. Julian Brandt, Delaney, Emre Can. Bit of head tennis going on in the middle of the park there from the Dortmund lads. Here's Lucas Piszczek on this right-hand side. The man occupying the right of those central defensive positions. Here's Julian Brandt. Nice driven pass out to this right-hand side. Hakimi takes it down on his chest. Looks to go past Holtman, who's done really, really well defensively there. Here is Streli Mamba. Will use his pace. Opportunity to have a run at Borussia Dortmund. He's got plenty of pace. Matt Hummels just comes across and does really, really well there. But he's a real threat, Mamba. Once he shifts up a couple of gears, there's no stopping him. Really quick, really powerful. Hummels just using his experience there to get his body in the right place, get in front of the ball, prevent the 25-year-old breaking free. Here is Jamilu Collins. Julian Brandt's come back to defend. Uwe Hunemeyer. All driven in behind. Can Paderborn keep this in? He's done pretty well there. Looks to play that reverse pass inside, but he's dispossessed. Dennis Serbeni there. We mentioned earlier, former Norwich City player, 43 appearances for the Canaries. He's got 5 goals for Paderborn this season in the Bundesliga. Here's Jadon Sancho. Looking to create something on that left-hand side for the visitors. How's Jadon Sancho look to you so far, Cameron?
A little bit better, but I don't think we've seen too much of him yet, because he's occupying that area that Paderborn are trying to kind of stifle a bit.
Here's Vassiliadis for Paderborn. Does really, really well to hold off Lucas Piszczek there.
Sancho has still had a couple of those sloppy passes still, so.
Crossfield ball there from Hunemeyer was a poor one, and Paderborn conceded throw-in as a result. Don't forget, guys, hit that like button. Share the broadcast via the Hot Mic app. Here's Lucas Piszczek. Ashraf Hakimi looks for the ball in behind. Christian Schordijk got a touch to it. Conceded a corner. Not sure he needed to there, but don't want to take any risks. Just bounces right in front of him, doesn't it? Making it difficult.
Yeah, difficult one, that.
So often we see those end up in the defender's own net. They'll be relieved to see it go over. Hazard prepares to take this corner right-footed. 35 minutes played. Delivered into the penalty area towards that far post. Emre Can, who got up there, but he couldn't keep his header down. It's a good leap from Can. Maybe slightly too early. Couldn't hang in the air.
Yeah, they seem to focus on it a bit too much there and kind of overload the area with bodies, and Paderborn were able to just get out and deal with it.
Here's Delaney. So often mistaken for Matt Hummels. Must have the same barber, who knows. Here's Roman Bürki at the back for Borussia Dortmund now. Manuel Akanji. Ball in behind. Hakimi, who's come onto this left-hand side now just temporarily. Thought he'd won his team a corner there, but the ball came off the corner flag and went out for a throw-in instead. Here's Delaney. Dortmund have had 62% of the possession in this last 20 minutes, which is slightly more than they had in the first 20 minutes or so of the game. 15 minutes. Just signs that they're starting to get on top here. Here's Guerrero, ball in to the penalty area. Just unreachable there for Thomas Delaney. Comes Holtman. Paderborn looking to switch play. Ball breaks to them once more, but again it's good defending from Dortmund. Here's Julian Brandt. Here's Hakimi. One-on-one with Jamilu Collins, but decides to find Emre Can instead. Ball played out to this left-hand side. Guerrero. Inside to Delaney. Sancho now. Forced back again. Paderborn holding their ground. Here's Delaney. Into the feet of Hazard. One onto Hakimi on this right-hand side. Delivers low across the penalty area. Almost too much conviction in that delivery. Nobody was able to get on the end of it. But we just see that again. Dortmund had that extra man on that right-hand side as Paderborn got really narrow in their shape.
Yeah, Dortmund doing lots of switching at the moment, but usually not allowing that free man. Here they do it, and you can see the success that they get from it. But again, still looking for that same space between the winger and the central midfielder.
Absolutely. Here is Lucas Piszczek at the back for Borussia Dortmund, who squeezed right up to the halfway line. Paderborn have every player, apart from Streli Mamba, inside their own half as they defend and look to get to the break goalless. Here's Julian Brandt. Nice little touch, but Hazard wasn't quite on the same wavelength as him there.
They were just struggling for height as well there, Dortmund. They were relying on those quick little 1-2 kind of passes to provide the height rather than just getting it in and then playing it in behind.
Absolutely. Here's Manuel Akanji in possession now for Borussia Dortmund. Lucien Favre's side unable to engineer much so far. Here's Jadon Sancho dribbling into the penalty area. Took that in his stride really, really well.
That's exactly the kind of play Dortmund are aiming for. A combination between Brandt and Sancho in that area.
Hakimi plays it inside. Another loose pass, not the first one we've seen today. Here's another one. Paderborn will burst forward now. Real opportunity. They've got a man over on this left-hand side. Here's Mamba. Shoots from the angle. Apologies, I think it was Antwi Ajay in the end. Yes, it was.
Yeah, I think Mamba made that initial run, which I thought could have been played straight away, but they opted to take it wide.
Just pulled the defenders away though, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Well, driven goalwards, left-footed, was always rising. But it's another attempt from Paderborn, and they've had their fair share of attempts at goal in this first half, considering that they've had very little in terms of sustained possession. Here's Jadon Sancho. Just shows how effective they can be in the transition. Here's Julian Brandt. Emre Can. Got it back. Former Liverpool man. On loan from Juventus. Almost with a long diagonal ball in search of Guerrero. Can he keep it in? He does. Julian Brandt can't take it down though. Drager done really, really well there for Paderborn. Just take the sting out of it. And now his team to build some possession now. Albeit in their final third, which they won't like. Here's Antwi Ajay, who's just come out onto this left-hand side in the last few minutes. He and Gerrit Holtman have switched. Not sure if that's something we will see switch back or if they'll maintain that for a little bit longer, at least until the break. Here's Akanji, ball out to Guerrero on this left-hand side. So dangerous, Rafael Guerrero going forward. Here's Emre Can. Ashraf Hakimi. Brandt has come out to this right-hand side to support him. Hakimi looks to play the ball inside towards Hazard. Poor pass in the end. But Hakimi has it back. Can looks to slot in. Jadon Sancho was just waiting on that left-hand side there.
Good opportunity there for Dortmund with that stray pass. Again, they're looking for those switches of play after they've committed lots of Paderborn players forward.
Sancho looking to dance his way through the penalty area. Beat a couple of men there, but forced back in the end. It was one too many. Here's Julian Brandt on the corner of Paderborn's penalty area. Dispossessed. Jamilu Collins will play the ball down the line towards Streli Mamba. Frustrating so far for him. He does an awful lot of running. Doesn't receive much of the ball though, does he?
Yeah, Dortmund looking like they're starting to get into the swing of things a bit more now. Paderborn will be thankful for half-time, I think.
Here's Hakimi on this right-hand side for Borussia Dortmund. Ball in towards the penalty area. Just cut out. Breaks to Guerrero on this left-hand side. Cuts it back to Sancho. Backheels it. It's a shot from the edge of the box from Emre Can. Certainly got hold of it, but the accuracy was all over the place.
I've seen a few of them from his Liverpool days.
I mean, he certainly makes good contact with the ball, but unfortunately he's probably ended up just outside the stadium. Goes down as a half chance, I suppose, for Borussia Dortmund as we approach the break. Just around about a minute plus stoppage time remaining here. Paderborn 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. Here is Akanji. Piszczek does well there just to avoid the challenge of Antwi Ajay. Dortmund bursting forward here. Hakimi's ball into the middle. Jadon Sancho lets it run. Julian Brandt opens up his body. And it's another poor finish though. Really, really poor. They done so much good work there to work that space and create that space. Jadon Sancho does brilliantly to let this run. They got the man over on the far side, but Julian Brandt looks to just caress it in towards that far corner, but he's completely miscued that.
Dortmund again with that same kind of build-up. Paderborn's fullbacks are getting quite tight to those inside forwards. So if they move into the centre, the fullbacks are moving with them, and then that's just isolating the centre backs, which created that chance with that 1-2. But Paderborn will be thankful for this half-time.
Absolutely, the half-time whistle's gone here. It's Paderborn 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. Paderborn will be the happier of the two sides, but just signs towards the end of that first period that Borussia Dortmund are beginning to get into the swing of things. They're beginning to get in the mood. Half-time's probably come at a good time for Paderborn. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes, and then we'll be answering some of your questions whilst looking ahead to the second half. So don't go anywhere. Good afternoon and welcome back to Total Football Analysis' live coverage of the Bundesliga. It's Paderborn 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. Not any goals so far, but we've seen Borussia Dortmund starting to make a bit more of it. We've seen Paderborn have a few attempts at goal as well. Cameron, let's get your thoughts on that first half. Do you agree that Dortmund were beginning to show signs of what they're capable of?
Yeah, definitely. Probably about after 35 minutes, they started really creating those chances. Again, those half space combinations, space between the winger and the central midfielder. Paderborn are relying on the fullback to cover that, so when they can overload it, Dortmund can try and get in behind. But we saw aspects of it at the end of the half, but it was slowly getting better.
Absolutely. It's not all been one-way traffic, though, has it? Paderborn have had their opportunities as well. They've looked really sharp on the transition. In particular, Christopher Antoiage has probably had a couple of their better chances. I think actually maybe all three attempts at goal might have been his, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we mentioned before the game about how aggressive they can be in transition, and again, they have been. A couple of times when they counter-attack, they do leave themselves susceptible to a counter-attack after that, which we saw with the chance Dortmund created. But they're a really aggressive team. They will get at teams like they have done.
Absolutely. Dortmund, of course, disappointed from the Klassiker result that took place a few nights ago. But are we seeing maybe their heads have dropped a little bit, in your opinion, or do you think that? Do you think that's had no impact here? I think they do look a little, well, they certainly did at the beginning, look a little bit lackluster, and maybe that played a part.
There have been a few of those sloppy passes, which we also saw in the Bayern game. But again, I think they've grew into the game a little bit, and Paderborn will certainly be up for a challenge in the second half, keeping them out.
Absolutely. Let's go over to some of the listener questions. We've got one from Chris. He says, stating the obvious maybe, but are Dortmund missing the focal point of Haaland? Have they started becoming over-reliant on him to make something happen in front of goal? Cameron, let's have your thoughts on that.
Interesting question. His positioning is probably the thing I'd say they're missing the most. We mentioned before the game about how that front three can be really fluid. So I think we saw at one point Brandt going over to the wing and Sancho operating in that space. When they do that, you then need Hazard to come across and get some of that height. Haaland's usually always in the centre, so he's providing that height. Lots of the goals he scores are when he runs in behind. So they are missing that somewhat. But again, I think in a game like this, you do need players who are going to come back. So as long as they do kind of keep the height sometimes, which again, at the start of the half, I don't think they did very well, but as they grew into the game, I think they've done that better and better, and that's how they've created chances.
Zach also asks a similar question, which is, do you think Dortmund lack an alternative to Haaland who can change the game? I think, from my perspective, one thing I've learned, obviously covering these few games that we have so far, is that as much as Haaland looks like a big target man, that's not really his game. And you mentioned that he pulls defenders out of position and he runs in behind, and it's that ability to almost play on the shoulder of the defender that maybe we don't see. Ability is probably the wrong word, because I'm sure Sancho and the likes of him and Hazard can do that, but you don't often see them playing right on the shoulder of the last man. They often try and get a little bit deeper and pull out to those wide positions to make things happen. So it's just a case of their profile not being the same as Haaland's, in my opinion. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, it definitely gives them kind of less options to attack with those three up front. They can't constantly. They have threatened in behind a few times, but they can't constantly do it. And Haaland's skill set is what, in terms of crosses as well, compared to Julian Brandt in the air, is a different skill set completely. But again, I don't think Dortmund have performed too badly, and I don't think they should be panicking offensively. If I was making a prediction, I would expect Dortmund to break through eventually, as a result of those deep movements and quick combinations in that area.
Absolutely. We got another question from Sam Milne, who says, where's the midfield? Sam, if you could just clarify what you mean by that and which team you're talking about, then we'll do our best to answer that during the broadcast. But where's the midfield is a little bit vague. So we're a bit stuck on that one. But please do let us know in the live chat, and we'll come to that question as soon as we possibly can. As I said already, don't forget to head over to totalfootballanalysis.com, subscribe to the magazine, and we keep talking about the progress of the magazine. And when I first got involved with you guys, it was a monthly magazine, then it was a fortnightly magazine, and now it is a weekly magazine. That's how much new content there is. That's how brilliantly things are going for Total Football Analysis. So head over, do subscribe. The price remains the same, despite the fact that you're getting far more for your money now. You're getting 4 magazines a month instead of 1, which is excellent. So please do head over there and check it out, and you'll get lots and lots of expert analysis, like the brilliant stuff that Cameron's provided you today and that Lee has been providing you in the last couple of weeks. If you're not listening via the Hot Mic app and you're joining us via the Total Football Analysis YouTube channel, please download the app and sign up with the promo code TFA2020. That app will allow you to synchronize our commentary with your television pictures if you're watching us via BT Sport 1 or Fox Sport 1. Alternatively, if you're watching via another provider, you can sync us manually using the manual sync buttons on the app, and we'll do our best to provide you with as many markers as we possibly can to help you do that and ensure you can do it as accurately as possible. It's Paderborn 0, Borussia Dortmund 0 at the moment. The second half is imminent. You said if you tried to make a prediction, Cameron, you'd predict that Dortmund would find the breakthrough eventually. I'm going to ask you to make a solid prediction now. How do you see this second half going?
Yeah, as I mentioned, I do think Dortmund will break through. The result now is kind of dependent on Dortmund making those half-space movements, but also how they can control Paderborn's quick, aggressive counter-attacks that they've done. So they do need to keep that counter-pressing up, which has been good so far, but occasionally they've let it lapse. And against Paderborn, it might only be one counter-attack and one lapse in concentration in Dortmund's counter-pressing, and then they could go a goal behind. But I do expect Dortmund to sort that counter-pressing, keep the game under control, win the second balls, and then look to combine and probably score some goals.
I suspect the pressure that Paderborn will probably be under will force them to concede eventually. But as you said, and as we've been saying, Paderborn have shown signs as well that they're capable on the counter-attack in the transition of causing Borussia Dortmund all sorts of problems. So I wouldn't rule them out of this one just yet. But of course, Dortmund have the superior quality. They're the ones with the household names, with the stars. So you'd expect them probably to go out and win this second half. But we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Cameron, just remind our listeners how they can follow you on Twitter, and also they need to make sure they're following Total Football Analysis too for some brilliant content. But Cameron, what's your Twitter handle?
Yeah, I'm at Cam_Megan.
Brilliant stuff. Please do check that out. The second half is around the corner. We're waiting to find out if there have been any substitutions made. Of course, the Bundesliga has slightly adapted the rules since the return due to player fitness and conditioning. We're now seeing teams being allowed to make 5 substitutions. We've seen a lot of halftime changes since the Bundesliga's returned. Cameron, we spoke at the start of the broadcast about the differences in the Bundesliga with fans and without fans, and you said that you watch games without any commentary when you do your analysis, which is interesting. So, I mean, how do you think from my perspective, when I first watched a couple of games, I found it really weird. It was like, whoa, we're watching a game and there's nobody in the stadium. I found that really, really strange. But as time's gone on, I've gotten used to it. Do you think this will lead to people maybe watching football with a different focus and perhaps not getting distracted by all the things going on around, and be more focused on the tactical side of it?
I certainly hope so. It'd obviously do us in Total Football Analysis a world of good. Not having a commentator constantly does help you kind of concentrate on the game a little bit, and does help you focus on what's the most important thing in the game. So we're not looking at the past form of the teams or what the mentality is like. We're looking at how they're playing in a certain structure and what their most common trends are in the game.
Absolutely, and commentary can often influence opinions, can't it? Mm-hmm. You see that time and time again. You hear a commentator make a particular comment, and then you check out social media, and it seems that is the public opinion. But often you're absolutely right, and I find it interesting when I'm at games, and I find it easier to analyse them being at the game than watching it on TV. Like, because you said there's no influence there, just literally watching what's unfolding in front of you. There is no commentary in your ear. Yeah, the crowd can perhaps influence your opinion, and that does happen, particularly at Arsenal, where I often watch my football. But for me, you're absolutely right. It's a great point. It makes you focus on the game. It makes you watch the game in close detail, rather than sort of being carried away with the things that are going on around at the outside of the pitch. Two teams are back out on the field. Second half is about to kick off. Paderborn now attacking from left to right, as you watch on your television pictures. Brandt, Sancho and Hazard still the front three for Borussia Dortmund at the moment. Had no confirmation of any changes. We believe it's as you were. Delaney and Chan in the midfield. Kimi on the right, Guerrero on the left. Back three of Akanji, Hummels and Piszczek. Not sure what the hold up is here. We wait for the referee to give the go ahead for the resumption of this fixture. Paderborn 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. Referee looks around, just has a final count of those on the field. Blows his whistle, and we're back underway. Borussia Dortmund in possession. Cameron, Jimmy asks, are Paderborn just too deep for Dortmund to get their combination play with multiple runners on the wings going?
Yeah, the deepness is certainly a factor within it. Also, they are playing quite narrow, so we've seen a few times Dortmund looking to switch the play. But that deepness and that narrowness also just helps them to stay compact, and therefore Dortmund have struggled at times to get into that half space. But again, if Dortmund do it effectively, they can build past that deepness.
Sam has come back on his question. Question for Mr. Megan. Should the midfield not be further back? Sam, which midfield are you talking about? Dortmund's or Paderborn's? Let us know. That's what I asked. Yeah, Paderborn have a throw in on that left-hand side. Here they come with Holtmann. Matt Hummels gets a foot in, but Holtmann still got it. He's still alive here, Holtmann. He's done really, really well. Delaney hooks it clear, though, eventually, for Borussia Dortmund. But Paderborn will come once more. Collins, this left-hand side, looks to find Mamba. Moves broken down, though. Here's Vassiliadis in the middle of the park for Paderborn. Let's assume that Sam's talking about Borussia Dortmund's midfield, unless he says otherwise. Should the midfield not be further back? That's his question.
I mean, I don't know if he's talking about in possession or out of possession, but I don't think there's been any problem with their midfield, really. If you clarify, Sam, we might know, but sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Paderborn in possession once more. It's a long searching ball down that left flank, but it's found nobody. But it's gone out, and it's gone out for a throw-in. Not Uwe Hunemeyer's best pass. Oh, Sam meant Paderborn's. He says, I meant Paderborn's, sorry. Should Paderborn's midfield not be further back? I guess what he's saying is, should they be sitting a little bit deeper in order to try and prevent Dortmund creating anything around the edge of the penalty area?
I'm not sure if they can go much deeper. Otherwise, they can't really apply that pressure into Dortmund's midfield themselves. And then from there, Dortmund can try and get in behind a little bit more. So I think Paderborn's approach has been really good so far. They've put pressure on that second line of Dortmund really well and limited that space. So I'm not sure Paderborn need to go any deeper just yet.
Here's Holtmann on this left-hand side for Paderborn. Fires one across the penalty area. It's low. It's rolled right across. I'm not sure if that was a shot initially, but it almost rolled across Roman Berke's 6-yard box there. He certainly dragged it wide, whatever it was meant to be, from Holtmann, and then Mamba and Antuiaje just got in each other's way there. In the end, ball's gone out for a Dortmund goal kick. Here's Julian Brandt popping up on this right-hand side now. Sam says, cheers. You're welcome, my friend. Keep the questions coming. We're always happy to answer them. Or Cameron's happy to answer them. With his superior tactical knowledge. Here is Thorgan Hazard. Guerrero cuts it back. Sancho just can't get it under control. Ball's broken to this right-hand side. And Borussia Dortmund miss a golden opportunity. Achraf Hakimi arriving in the penalty area late. It's a really, really good save from Leopold Zingerla in the end. Sancho miscontrolled it. Chan let it run. And there was Hakimi. He's done pretty much everything right. He's gone low. He's gone hard. He couldn't really go across the goalkeeper because of the bodies being thrown in the way. Dortmund have a corner. Sancho's delivery. It's a Dortmund head to it. Just landed on the roof of the net there from Matt Hummels. It's a good run across the penalty area from him. Really good header as well, but it just doesn't come down enough. It lands on the roof of the net. That was a really, really big chance for Dortmund, wasn't it?
Yeah, from the corner specifically, Dortmund have been doing lots of those kind of blindside runs where they run from behind the defender where they can't see and then move onto the marker and then can kind of get a free header almost, and that's exactly what Hummels has done there. Julian Brandt tried it a couple of times in the first half, but it didn't come off simply because they didn't try and deliver it into that area. But they've tried it there, and they've obviously got a header from it, and it was a good chance.
Big chance before that as well, leading to it.
Yeah.
Achraf Hakimi unable to put the ball in the back of the net. Here's Holtman for Paderborn as they look to create an opportunity of their own. I'm not sure what he's done there. I don't think he could have done that if he tried. Almost left the ball behind him there. Gerrit Holtman, the 25-year-old. 20 Bundesliga appearances for him so far this season. Just going back to that Hakimi chance. You know, normally you'd say that the right thing to do there is go back across the goal, but given the number of Paderborn defenders that managed to get themselves in the way, he didn't really have much option, so probably going for the near post was the right thing, but it was a good save. Here's a Kanji, turns back, forced back to Matt Hummels. Don't forget to hit that like button if you're joining us via the Hot Mic application. Don't forget to follow Total Football Analysis if you don't already. That way you'll never miss a broadcast. Here come Dortmund once more. It's Jadon Sancho on this right-hand side. Low ball across the penalty area. How on earth has Thorgan Hazard missed that? He's almost tried to be too cute with the finish. And it's just rolled agonisingly wide of that far post. Sancho's delivery low. He's almost just tried to guide it. But he's guided it wide of the post. That's another huge chance for Borussia Dortmund.
It's a lovely combination again in that half space between I think it was Hakimi and Brandt with a couple of 1-2s and just moving into space ahead of them. They're really keen in that half space. I keep mentioning they are going to keep trying to play through there.
Paderborn playing themselves into trouble here at the back. Collins plays it down the line. Dortmund have it back. Dortmund come again. Here's Emre Can. Guerrero plays it inside towards Brandt, but they're dispossessed now. Paderborn with an opportunity to break themselves. It's another sloppy pass though. This time it was from Shreli Mamba. Just going back to that opportunity, we often say that when the power's on the delivery, you don't need to make much contact with it, just direct it. And it's almost as though Hazard's tried too hard to do that there. A little bit more contact probably would have diverted that on goal, but he's just being very conscious, hasn't he, there, of not trying to take the sting out of the ball. Another misplaced pass from Paderborn, but fortunately Christopher Antuiaje was able to get his body in the way. "52 minutes played here." We spoke about the signs Dortmund were starting to get on top at the end of that first period. They've had 2 golden opportunities already in this second half. But it remains 0-0. See Emre Can there, brought down by Sebastian Vassiliadis. Can have no complaints about that. Guerrero in behind. Emre Can inside the penalty area, puts it across the goal. The keeper spilled it, and there's Thorgan Hazard to put Borussia Dortmund in front. The breakthrough has been coming. It's finally come in the shape of Thorgan Hazard, his 7th goal of the season. The 27-year-old opens the scoring, and we just see that switch of play once more. Guerrero plays the ball, and Emre Can does brilliantly. The delivery isn't great, but the goalkeeper spilled it right into Hazard's path. It's been coming, hasn't it?
Yep, again, one of those switches of play. Every time they switch that play, that gap between either the full-back and the centre-back or the winger in the central midfielder gets bigger every single switch of play. And then from there, Emre Can runs straight into that space, gets around the central defender who comes across, and then it's a cross. Unfortunate spill by the goalkeeper, and then good movement by Hazard.
Zingler's got to do better there, hasn't he? He's got to do better there to keep the ball out of that danger area. He's almost parried it right in the very position that you don't want to, and that's the middle of your 6-yard box. And there's Hazard to turn it in. As I said, his 7th Bundesliga goal of the season. Former Gladbach man, 27 years old. Got a brother who's a little bit famous as well. Here's Thomas Delaney. Dortmund finally have the breakthrough. Are you expecting the pattern of the game to change much now, Cameron?
Not just yet. It's on the 55th minute just now. I think Dortmund will keep on trying to penetrate that same space, and Paderborn for now will just defend as they were in the first half. And then probably around the 75th minute, they'll look to change their game plan if it stays like this.
Hakimi just losing his footing there in the build up to that move. Paderborn trail, defended well for the most part, but a sloppy piece of goalkeeping means Borussia Dortmund are in front. Here's Julian Brandt. Hazard does brilliantly there. Got options to his left, goes to his right instead. Jadon Sancho. Guerrero, who's just stepped in field temporarily. Also left wing back in this Borussia Dortmund side. Here's Akanji now in possession. Jimmy Page asks the question, is it the right choice for Dortmund to play 3 at the back against such a defensive side?
Really good question, actually. The whole point of the back 3 is to try and stretch that second line of Paderborn's press, so the midfield area. Every time a wide centre-back gets the ball, somebody's usually got to make a decision to kind of move or go out and even press that wide centre-back. So they are just looking to stretch it every time. So I do think it's the right decision because it gives them a really healthy base to go and build off.
Here's Julian Brandt, ball across the penalty area, and Jadon Sancho doubles Borussia Dortmund's lead. Justice for George Floyd, that's the message on his shirt. Once again, Borussia Dortmund cutting through this Paderborn defence like a knife through butter. And there was Jadon Sancho at the far post to turn it in. He won't score many easier goals than that, will he? Julian Brandt was onside. Just having a look, make sure Jadon Sancho was. He certainly was, as the ball was rolled across the penalty area. There you go. It's that half space that Cameron has been mentioning throughout this match. Sancho makes no mistake with the finish.
Similar goal to the first one in terms of the movement. So the fullback's dragged out wide, and then Brandt's able to get into that space again, and a much cleaner looking finish from Sancho this time.
His 15th Bundesliga goal of the season, Jadon Sancho. He's having some campaign, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely been certainly probably the young player of the season in the Bundesliga. It could be argued. Assists and goals wise, he's been fantastic. Obviously, after the coronavirus break, he's not been starting so many games, but looks like he's back in form a little bit in the second half.
Absolutely. Not sure what Paderborn are complaining about here, but Jadon Sancho's, of course, received a yellow card for removing his shirt during the celebration. I think it's one of the stupidest rules in football, but it is what it is. And we just have to deal with it, I suppose. Here's Vasiliadis. Paderborn 0, Borussia Dortmund 2. As I said in the first half, often when teams have a lapse in concentration and they're punished, the floodgates open.
Interesting to see how Paderborn approach the game now. Certainly committing players back there to build up. But they will have to attack now if they want some from the game, and that obviously opens up big spaces that Dortmund love to get into.
Certainly. Achraf Hakimi down there after a challenge from Collins. I think that's what Paderborn are complaining about. We're just seeing a replay of the build up to the goal. They feel that the ball struck a Dortmund player's arm. Not sure he could have done much about it given the distance, but that's what they're aggrieved about. That's what they're disappointed about. Dortmund have a free kick on that far side. It's their right hand side, Paderborn's left. Approaching the hour mark.
The ultimate bugbear of any analyst is this kind of camera angle here where you can't see anything.
Absolutely. Lovely ball in behind for Hakimi there. Glides past his man, puts another cross across the face of the penalty area. It's come all the way to Guerrero though on this left-hand side. You can imagine the camera angle must play a huge part in what you do because you can't be at every single stadium every weekend. Here is Thorgan Hazard. So in that case, you have certain grounds where you prefer doing the analysis because the camera angle is that little bit more zoomed out.
It sometimes differs with broadcasters as well, but set pieces particularly are really annoying because you get, if you're trying to watch the movement from a corner, it usually cuts to a quick angle of the corner taker taking the corner with a big zoom, so you can't see most of the movement. It really is annoying.
Oh, there by Emre Can, I think it was. Paderborn have the opportunity to get the ball in Borussia Dortmund's penalty area, which they haven't really done since the start of this second period. 61 minutes played. Goals from Thorgan Hazard and Jadon Sancho, the difference at the moment between the two sides. Don't forget to give us a like on the Hot Mic app. Follow Total Football Analysis. If you're watching via the YouTube channel, head over to the app, download it, use the promo code TFA2020. Sync our commentary with your TV pictures. Stay up to date and you'll never miss a broadcast. Ball delivered into the penalty area towards that far post. Paderborn get ahead to it. Opportunity here to turn one in. It's gone in the back of the net, but the flag's up, it looks like. And again, the camera angle not doing us any favours because I couldn't see the flag there. Just judging by the muted celebrations, it is the right call. Absolutely is the right call.
Quite a strange routine from Paderborn there. They positioned an offside marker to try and get in behind at that front post and then sent it towards the back post. So then by the time they could flick the ball on, you had players in higher areas at that near post. Obviously that player was too high because he was a good 2 yards offside probably.
Dennis Benny was Dan who put the ball in the back of the net for Paderborn, but was ruled out correctly, I have to add. Oh, miscue there from Lucas Piszczek under a little bit of pressure, forced back to his keeper. Berkey takes a touch there. That's risky. Paderborn with a real opportunity here. Back comes Thomas Delaney to help his goalkeeper out. That is sloppy, isn't it, from Roman Berkey?
He's got a habit of trying to play really, really risky passes with his feet, then obviously caught up with him there.
people who are a little bit older, like myself, we're conditioned to see goalkeepers in a very different way to the way they're asked to play most of the time now. And I know that when I watch my own team play and I see the goalkeeper taking unnecessary risks. When I was growing up, that wasn't what a goalkeeper was supposed to do. The game has evolved a great deal since then.
You get it at stadiums if you've got an inexperienced or a new goalkeeper in net and they're trying to play out with the feet. You do get gasps and all sorts from the crowd.
Yeah, certainly.
But it is a vital part of football nowadays.
Absolutely.
You can almost have them as a centre back. Sometimes I've seen teams such as Vélez Sarsfield in Argentina, who Gabriel Heinze manages. He uses them as a third centre back at times, and then allows another centre back to push up.
Paderborn with a free kick here. Opportunity to test Roman Bürki in the Borussia Dortmund goal. A couple of players standing over it. Struck straight into the wall. The ball breaks for Holtmann there, but Dortmund get it clear. And you can see how quickly Dortmund get up the pitch. It's a poor pass there from Zingerla. Not had a great second half, has he, the Paderborn goalkeeper? It was his error that led to the opener. Looks like they're going to make a couple of changes, the hosts. Symeou is going off for Zielinski. Second change as well. Michel comes on for Mamba. Mamba's worked really hard, but they haven't been able to get the service up to him, and he's been largely ineffective.
Michel, quite a similar kind of player in terms of his counter-attacking ability and his pace. So, almost a like-for-like change in that way.
Here is Mohamed Drager on this right-hand side, the Tunisian. Emre Can into Jadon Sancho's feet. Julian Brandt goes back to Akanji. Lays it in between the lines to Emre Can. Jimmy asks, what are Paderborn missing to get something going from open play? Or are they just not very good?
I mean, it is difficult for them because of the gap in quality. But the counter-attacks did seem to be the biggest factor at the start of the game, and occasionally they haven't been able to have that height simply because of either they've been too deep, which I think Jimmy also mentioned. I think that was him. And so, yeah, pretty much it's about a lack of quality and also about it's difficult to press them that high because then you risk them going over the top like they have done. So it is a very difficult game for Paderborn. They were more or less looking to hit them on the break and sit in that shape, which they did well in the first half, but you could see this coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Here is Manuel Akanji into Thomas Delaney. Forced back. Good pressure there from the Paderborn new boys, Zielinski and Michel. Here's Akanji. Probably didn't want to receive that pass. Did well in the end though. Here's Jadon Sancho. No foul, says the referee. Oh, no, he does give a foul. Jadon Sancho's down in a heap. Certainly looked as though Strodak came into the back of Jadon Sancho there. Dortmund are about to make a change themselves. Change is going to come in the heart of the midfield. It's Thomas Delaney being replaced by Axel Witsel. The unmistakable Axel Witsel. How can you miss him? He's a commentator's dream. Here's Hunemeyer at the back for Paderborn as they look to try and find a route back into this game. Just over 20 minutes plus stoppage time remaining here. It's Paderborn 0, Borussia Dortmund 2. Goals from Thorgan Hazard and Jadon Sancho being the difference between these two sides at present. Emre Can had a decent game today, Can. Been very combative, but also quite creative as well when he has had the opportunity to step into that final third. Here's Hazard pulled out to this right-hand side. Lovely reverse pass to Brandt. Lays it off to Can. From the edge of the box, it's low. And it's held this time by Leopold Zingerle. Just went for placement there, Can. Never really had the power, but keeper kept his eye on it well, and he held it this time, crucially for Paderborn. Switch of play from the hosts. Drager lays it off to Christian Stroedijk, the Paderborn skipper. Puts Vassiliadis in an awkward position, but his touch was a good one. He lays it off back to the goalkeeper. Here come Paderborn with Michel on this left-hand side. Looks up, switches the play. Drager will take it down on his chest. Opportunity here. What a block that is from Emre Can, but they're appealing for a handball. What's the referee given? He's given a penalty. He's pointed to the spot. Perhaps a route back into this game for Paderborn. Drager about to let fly. Emre Can throws his body in the way. Certainly an arm there. You could argue that he's too close. You could argue that he's turned his head away and it's not intentional. But it does strike the arm. What's your thoughts on that, Cameron?
There's certainly an arm there, but there's also the question of where does he put his arm? I mean, it's right by his side. He's tucked it in deliberately. There's not much you can do about that, really.
Dortmund not happy with the decision. Emre Can has been booked as well for his troubles. I think you're right. I think it is harsh. It certainly strikes the arm, though. I don't think there's any argument about that. It's what he does to prevent that. What can he do to prevent it? He's still arguing. He's been booked already. He'd be doing himself a favour, Emre Can, if he just walked away from the referee now. The decision has been made. Still remonstrating. I think he's making that point that you made, Cameron, about where on earth was he supposed to put that arm? Paderborn with an opportunity to get themselves back in this game. Penalty taken, and it's into the top corner. It's a brilliant finish from Uwe Hunemeyer, and Paderborn are back in this one. Roman Berkey with no real opportunity of saving that. It was a good finish, and Paderborn are back in this game.
It's worth knowing about the build-up to the penalty as well. That came from pretty much the goalkeeper building up from there, and they eventually broke the Dortmund press and got through in that way. Again, Paderborn are a really brave team, and they will build up against you. I'd quite like to see it back to see how exactly they did break the press. But yeah, brilliant by Paderborn.
Hunemeyer's first Bundesliga goal of the season. It was a very confident penalty, wasn't it? From somebody who plays at centre-back, 34-year-old veteran defender. Just a reminder, Emre Can did pick up a yellow card there. His third of the season. Not a stranger to a yellow card or two, is he, Emre Can? But he'll feel that that one was undeserved. I'm not sure. Here come Dortmund. Once more, dispossessed in the middle of the park. Can Dortmund go down the other end and put this game and this result beyond doubt? Here's Axel Witsel in possession to his midfield partner Can. Got to put that incident behind him. Just get on with the game. Ball in behind into the channel. Hazard will run onto it. He cuts the ball back towards the edge of the box. Here's Jadon Sancho with his left foot. That is an excellent finish from Jadon Sancho. And Borussia Dortmund respond almost immediately. It's Paderborn 1, Dortmund 3. And Sancho has got his 16th goal of the Bundesliga season. You just see it once more. Hazard making that run into the channel, that half space that Cameron's been mentioning. He takes a touch, he shifts it onto that left foot and he drives it towards that far post. Leopold Zingerle gets a hand to it, but it's too much to keep it out. Just seeing that again. He does brilliantly to fashion the space. It's a good strike. It's at a good height for the goalkeeper, really. Probably should do better there again. But such was the power and the venom on Jadon Sancho's hit that he was unable to keep it out.
Yeah, like you mentioned, it's that half space again, but it's also that use of the back three, because I think one of Paderborn's midfielders there stepped up to press one of the centre-backs. And then from there, that created a big, massive gap for... might have been Emre Can to play the initial ball through, and then of course to penetrate that half space again. So all of Dortmund's goals have been along the same lines, really.
I did wonder there if we've had a slip here from Manuel Akanji. Can Paderborn get in behind? Paderborn not happy with the referee once again. I just wondered there if Jadon Sancho was going to forget that he was on a yellow card and remove his shirt again in celebration. That would have left the referee with a real tough decision to make. Here is Matt Hummels wearing the number 15 shirt for Borussia Dortmund. His pass is a poor one and Paderborn have an opportunity to get forward again. It's a good challenge there from Hummels, who just stepped out of the defence there, and he's been shown a yellow card for his troubles. Probably the right call. Foul on Zielinski there. You just simply can't come into the back of people like that anymore.
Yeah.
Matt Hummels picking up his 5th yellow card of the Bundesliga season so far. They've also made another change, Paderborn. It's Pröger on for Holtmann. Ball delivered into the penalty area. The ball breaks to the edge of the box. Effort and goal from Vassiliadis. Pass back to the keepers. A poor one. Put him under real pressure there. Jadon Sancho running onto it, hungry for his hat-trick. Here is Sancho on this left-hand side for Borussia Dortmund. Plays the ball inside to Brandt. Takes it down on his chest. Looks to create some room, but he's been adjudged to have handled the ball there. Probably the right call.
Sancho didn't give Brandt much help playing that pass straight at him with a bit of speed behind it as well.
You're absolutely right. It's Paderborn to play a ball in behind for Michel. "77 minutes played here. Dortmund raced into a 2-goal lead at the start of the second half. Hazard and Sancho with the goals. Paderborn pegged them back though, after Emre Can was adjudged to have handled the ball in his own penalty area. Uwe Hunemeyer stepped up, brought Paderborn back into the game. But it didn't take long for Borussia Dortmund to go down the other end and restore their 2-goal advantage. Here is Michel. Looks for that cross-field pass. It's taken a massive deflection. And as a result, it ends up with Roman Bürki, who lays it off to Matt Hummels. Have you noticed anything different about the way Paderborn are playing? I mean, they didn't really have time to adjust, did they, between the getting back in the game and Dortmund's third? They've
certainly been a little bit more aggressive now. They pressed a little bit higher just then. And obviously the build up for their first goal there. Probably a little bit riskier than they might have tried if it was 0-0. But yeah, the gap between the first and second goal was not enough for them to react. After the first goal went in, they will have been hoping to settle back into the game for a little bit and then look to build a base that they can attack from.
Absolutely. Here is Matt Hummels at the back for Dortmund. Witsel in possession. Now that was a loose touch under pressure from Christopher Antoine. Here he is once more. Collins making that overlapping run from left back. Looks up into the penalty area. Looks to drive a ball into the box. I'm not sure what that was. Just going through this weekend's results. SC Freiburg 0, Bayer Leverkusen 1. Schalke 0, Werder Bremen 1. Hertha Berlin 2. Augsburg 0, Mainz 0. Hoffenheim 1. Wolfsburg 1. Eintracht Frankfurt 2. Bayern Munich 5, Fortuna Düsseldorf 0, Borussia Mönchengladbach 4, Union Berlin 1. That was earlier today. Dortmund making another couple of changes. It's Reina and Schmelzer that are going to be coming on. Reina replacing Julian Brandt. What have you made of his performance today?
Yeah, like most of Dortmund's front three, I think it's been his positioning and his movement and his touch certainly improved in the second half, but I don't think he's had maybe his best game ever. He certainly hasn't been as good as he was against, say, Schalke 2 weeks ago. But yeah, a decent performance from Brandt today.
The second change is Rafael Guerrero, who's made way for Marcel Schmelzer, wearing the number 29 shirt for Borussia Dortmund. 10 minutes plus stoppage time remaining here. It's Paderborn 1, Dortmund 3. Don't forget to give Total Football Analysis a follow on the Hot Mic application. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram and on Twitter too. Also give Cam a follow as well. If you've enjoyed the analysis, why not sign up to TotalFootballAnalysis.com for more. You can never have good football content, can you? Not enough of it around. Paderborn look as though they're readying another change. Schmelzer will take the throw in for Borussia Dortmund here. Another yellow card. This time it's Mohamed Drager. And see Reina just skipping away from him. He can't have any complaints there, can he?
That same combination again between the wing back and the inside forward player. It's good to see Reina getting minutes as a relatively young player, or a very young player really in the Bundesliga.
Paderborn boss not happy. Not sure how he can even complain about that. He's still remonstrating. I think that's a frustrated manager there. Just letting his emotions get the better of him. (23-year-old) Tunisian right wing back Mohamed Drager. 14 Bundesliga appearances this season. He's also contributed 3 assists. Paderborn making another change. Vasiliadis is being replaced by Sabiri. And we're also seeing Christopher Antwi Adje being replaced by Yastremski. Hazard involved out on this left-hand side for Dortmund once more. Paderborn have a throw-in as a result of that particular phase of play. He's thrown it inside to Uwe Hunemeyer, the Paderborn goal scorer today. Flicked around the corner for Michel to chase. Ball's gone out though. Took a massive deflection in Paderborn's favour, and they have a throw-in midway inside Borussia Dortmund's half. Here's Christian Strodiek. Play that pass in through the lines, but dispossessed. Emre Can in possession now for Dortmund. Lays it off to Reina. Hakimi back to Piszczek. To Reina. Does really, really well there. He's caught late, but Dortmund will carry on. Hazard. Sancho plays Hazard in. Maybe another opportunity here. Challenge inside the penalty area. Schmelzer on the edge of the box for Dortmund. Lays it off to the right-hand side for Hakimi. And it's Dortmund 4, Paderborn 1. That's it. Surely now it's game over. Borussia Dortmund get another one. It's Achraf Hakimi with his 5th Bundesliga goal of the season and showing once more how effective he can be in that final third.
So it's those same combinations again that we've talked about throughout the whole game. Just start off by accessing that half space on the other side and switch the ball, and then again access the half space on this side, and then it win the second ball, and then it's a layoff for that free man, which has always been Hakimi for the full game. He's had chances similar to that, I think, in the game, and this time's finished that one really well.
Takes a touch, he looks up, and he drives it low and hard across the goal, making it impossible for Zingela to keep that out. It's an expert finish. That is the finish of a centre-forward, let alone a right wing-back. Magnificent. Surely now the game is beyond all doubt. Lucien Favre's side have surely sealed all 3 points now. I don't think Paderborn's performance has deserved them to lose by a margin of 3, but that's the difference. When you take your opportunities, it's what quality gives you. Here's Michel running in behind here for Paderborn. Flag's gone up though.
Offside, yeah.
Just see the difference in quality in the final third between the two sides, can't you?
Yeah, and it's also a consequence of the systems they're trying to play. I mean, Paderborn obviously aren't going to get into those high areas with lots of other players in high areas just because they don't have the ball for long enough. So obviously they did for the first goal, and that's how they created their big chance of the game with the penalty. But they can't do that for the full game, and Dortmund can, and have controlled it really well. And now we're bringing on 2 youngsters as well by the looks of it.
Have a little think, Cameron, about your man of the match, and I'll come to you in a couple of moments for that. Hakimi makes way, as does Emre Can. Balerdi comes on for Can. And replacing Hakimi, we're just waiting for confirmation on that one. It's Mori. Dortmund dispossessed. Opportunity maybe for Paderborn to pull another one back. He's broken into the penalty area there. He's done really, really well. The left-sided player, but ball's gone out harmlessly. Oh, apologies. I thought it went out there for a Dortmund throw, but it's actually gone out for a Paderborn corner. Again, we're at the mercy of the camera angles. Delivery comes in, left-footed. It's an outswinger. Edge of the 6-yard box. Headed clear. Jadon Sancho will pick it up. Can Dortmund break forward now? Can they find a 5th from somewhere? He's done really well to avoid a couple of challenges there. The ball's taken off him. Dortmund flooding forward in numbers here. They've got men over at the far post. Effort just dragged wide there from Mori. His teammates will be frustrated with him there, won't they? That wasn't the best option.
Yeah, again, it's a Dortmund showcasing the speed that they can counter-attack at, as well as how good they are at building up to. It's a lovely he kind of takes the ball off Sancho, and speed of the attack just keeps going, and then maybe has the opportunity to cut it back, but it is a good save by the Paderborn goalkeeper.
It is a good save indeed, and for all the criticism we've given Leopold Zingela this evening, he did very, very well there. Interesting to see whether Dortmund take this one short. It's played to the edge of the box. Piszczek just can't get it under control though. Balerdi into Morley on this right hand side. Witzel delivers low into the penalty area. It's another one. Borussia Dortmund have a fifth. I think it's Marcel Schmelzer who's got in there. It is. The substitute has added Dortmund's fifth of the evening, completing the performance, the cherry on the cake. It's Paderborn 1, Borussia Dortmund 5. Can't imagine Marcel Schmelzer would have got himself in that position too many times in his career, but he's finished it well.
Paderborn don't deal with the second phase of the set piece particularly well, and then Dortmund obviously have that man over again on the wide area, and then from there, lovely cross, and Schmelzer, like you said, not somewhere he'd often find himself, but manages to put it in.
You can see how happy his teammates are for him there, which suggests that he isn't necessarily a regular goal scorer for Borussia Dortmund. It is his first goal of the season. We're into the 90th minute now. It's Paderborn 1, Borussia Dortmund 5. Cam, who's your man of the match this evening and why?
I've just been thinking about it. It is actually quite a difficult one. I think you could give it to Paderborn's Uwe Hunemeyer, but obviously he's now conceded 5 goals, and that impacts him somewhat, even though most of them weren't anything to do with him. But I'm going to give it, I think, to Rafael Guerreiro for Dortmund, who I think consistently throughout the whole game. I think if you look at Dortmund's front three, they have been guilty of sloppy passes a few times. They have got better as the game gone on, and the movement's been really good. But I think Guerreiro's consistently done well this whole game, and has allowed Dortmund to get into that left half space a lot, and that's where most of the goals have come from. So I give it to him, but it is a close one.
Here come Dortmund on the attack again. Can they add a sixth? It's Jadon Sancho looking for the hat-trick. Jadon Sancho's got the hat-trick. It's his 17th goal of the Bundesliga season. Jadon Sancho showing exactly why some of European football's big hitters are on his case. That is an excellent finish. Had an opportunity to square it, but given he was on a hat-trick, there was never any doubt in my mind that Jadon Sancho was going to go for goal. It's Paderborn 1, Borussia Dortmund 6.
Again, I think it is really cruel on Paderborn that they've now lost this game 6-1. Certainly not a deserved scoreline, but they've completely just lost any kind of structure there, and obviously get punished. And Sancho's got his hat-trick.
Jadon Sancho rounding off a brilliant performance. I think he's got to have the Man of the Match award now. But
yeah, just took it.
He's just stolen it from Cameron as he was talking about Guerreiro. Couldn't have timed that any better. We've got 3 minutes of stoppage time. We've already had 1.5 minutes, but I suspect there'll be a little bit more added on given that we've had a goal during that period. Big thank you to those of you commenting in the live chat. Martin McNamara says, good crisp comments, lads. Excellent alternative to the TV talkers, especially here in the US, because there are some real... I can't say that word on air. Thank you very much, Martin. We're glad you enjoyed it, and thank you to everybody who's been tuned in with us throughout this game. 7 goals. A real treat for you guys. Paderborn 1, Borussia Dortmund 6. Matt Hummels plays the ball out to the left-hand side in search of Schmelzer. The pass was well overhit. Paderborn have a throw-in, but Paderborn will be desperate for that final whistle to be blown now. The game's gotten away from them, but they should take some encouragement for the way they held Dortmund, particularly in that first half. And as you said, Cameron, whilst Dortmund have been very, very clinical in the final third, this certainly doesn't feel like a 6-1 defeat.
It does just go to show just how clinical Dortmund are. After that second goal went in, Paderborn were completely forced to kind of go for it a little bit. Dortmund have just picked them apart, using those patterns again, and then a couple of easy goals as a result of Paderborn's terrible structure, really. So it is cruel on Paderborn, but it's also signature Paderborn with the way they've played today.
Absolutely. Final whistle's gone here. Paderborn 1, Borussia Dortmund 6. Jadon Sancho with a hat-trick. The star of the show, Smeltzer, Hakimi and Thorgan Hazard with the other 3 goals for the visitors, who have bounced back after their disappointing defeat in their Klassiker. There was concerns that perhaps with heads dropped there could be a shock on the cards here, but that certainly wasn't the case in the end. Dortmund dominant, Dortmund blowing Paderborn out of the way in the end. It's finished Paderborn 1, Borussia Dortmund 6. Thank you so much to everybody who's tuned in via the Hot Mic app. Don't forget to give us a like and follow Total Football Analysis. That way you will never miss a broadcast. A massive thank you and well done to Cameron Megan as well for his first time joining me here. I'm sure it's the first of many, Cam, so well done, and look forward to doing more games with you in the future. Have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, really enjoyed it. Different experience to watching football normally, and yeah, thanks for guiding me through it.
No worries at all, my friend, and I hope to speak to you very soon. Hope to hear from you guys soon as well in the live chat box. As I said, we'll be announcing in the next day or two the games that we'll be covering next weekend and going forward for the next 30 days or so. We've got some real treats lined up for you. We'll be bringing you much more coverage. We'll be bringing you alternative commentary teams, different analysts to give you different alternative perspectives. And for those of you who are sick of my voice, we'll be bringing you some more commentators as well. So we look forward to expanding, and we look forward to you joining us next week. Until then, take care, enjoy the sunshine, and we'll be back with more very, very soon. Ciao.